Servus.
Servus.
I'm Moritz from der Mann mit der Maschine.
And I'm Matthias, der Mann mit der Maschine.
Today we're going to learn about the Moto Fader Performance Sequencer.
Yeah, that's the thing that's currently running. You see my live system, and the sequencer currently controls 3 voices. A bass voice with the BLD, a melody voice with the oscillators about here, and then there's an interesting FM voice with 2 sine oscillators.
Oh, nice.
And we have some drums, additional drums. The drums are not sequenced by the Moto Fader sequencer,
Okay.
but by the DROID with other modules, but that's not the topic for today. So
Let's dive in at the deep side, see what's going on here.
okay, so in order to make it a bit simpler, I mute some tracks. You see, you have here the tracks 1, 2, 3, 4. With the buttons, you can select the track you want to edit. And as you can see, the Moto Faders exactly moved to the positions
Nice.
that represent the melody of that track. If you hold the control button, you can mute. So let's mute other tracks for the while.
All right, now the bass line is running.
So you hear the bass line. And as you can see, we have a 16-step sequence running. We have these touch buttons here. With the touch buttons, I can enable notes. And with the faders, we can change the pitch.
Makes sense.
For example, here. And one interesting thing is these Moto faders create haptic feedback.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can see it.
Feels.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah.
It feels like notches.
Yeah,
Like
it
dance?
jumps to the next position
Yeah,
as soon as you get into proximity, right?
And each position represents exactly one note.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to make it simpler, I would say we start from scratch.
Of course.
Let's disable the drums. And there's one trick to make a factory reset. If you hold this clear button for a couple of seconds,
All right.
this thing is like it comes out of the box. No sequences. Every setting is to its default position. So we can, have a look. So
Start it over again.
this is the play button. We use the internal clock now.
Yeah.
So it runs, and now I can add notes simply by touching the button.
Yeah.
Let's make it something simple. One thing that you will see is
The light goes missing at the end
the
of
light
it.
is, that's because we have 2 pages of 16 steps. I can swap the page here.
All right.
And this is the second page, and I can
Yeah.
add some notes here.
All right.
Now we see the second page.
Yeah.
Here you see the first page.
All right.
In order to make explanation simpler, I suggest we restrict the played part to just 16
Yeah.
steps.
To the visible. To one visible page.
It's easier for us. So
Yeah.
if you hold this button, you will see one green light here. It marks the start point of the played portion.
Yeah.
And if I touch, for example, this,
We have an 8-step sequence.
just these steps are used.
All right.
So we can keep it for 8 steps for the while because it's simple. So let's, for example, enable this note. Then you can see each notch represents one note in the scale. And with the notch, you have super control over what's going on. So if you want really in a live situation, I want change by 1,
Yeah.
you can do it very precisely.
Yeah.
So that's the basic concept. Of course, you have other things like velocity. You see these buttons represent fader modes. So if I press velocity, now the faders represent velocity,
Yeah.
which is basically a CV output.
Yeah.
Or if you use MIDI, it's the MIDI velocity.
Yeah.
So I've patched it to filter cutoff here. So you see if the velocity is going up. Let's add some more notes that you can see. So velocity is low and can make interesting groove patterns just by that. This is an additional gate which you can use for something that's not patched here.
Okay, I see.
And then you have a gate length and glide here.
Yeah.
So for example, I can add glides per note.
This is how you activate the glide.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Yeah, and that's pretty much the basic concept of the sequencer. You have these faders, you have the modes, you have different tracks.
Yeah.
This is the second track.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about the Moto faders is that I immediately see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So it's not like other sequencer where we have normal faders where you switch and nothing happens. You cannot see what's going on. So that's the nice thing about it. That it's very, very hands-on. You have the large faders, you can switch, you have hundreds of functions on each fader, but it's always very clear what's going on.
Yeah, nice. Can you play more than 32 steps in one sequence?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Of course, in modular you have always limitations, and here it's in fact that you're limited to 32 steps. So you have the 2 pages of 16 steps, which makes 32 steps. But there are several ways to create much longer patterns by certain musical tricks. And I think for a live performance system, it's easier to work with these musical ideas than to have super long patterns, which are very hard to edit in a live situation. I think 32 steps is always, for me, it's most times too much. I often restrict it to 16 steps and use some features which I show you to make more interesting melodies.
Yeah.
And one is a very unique feature of the Moto fader sequencer. It's the AAAB button. It's the form button.
Okay.
So the idea is sometimes in music you have a form like you play the A part 3 times and then once the B part.
Yeah.
And let's make together 4 parts.
Yeah.
And so as soon as you press this button, let's first go to 16 steps here.
Yeah.
You can make this with 32 steps, but we make it with 16.
Yeah.
So if I enable this button, then the first half of the steps is A.
Yeah.
Second half is the B part.
All right.
Let's make the A part simple and the B part more complex. And let it run. And now I can see this is played 3 times. This is played once.
Musically, it totally makes sense.
And altogether 32 steps.
Yeah.
Okay, I can make this with 2 pages, then I have 64 steps.
Yeah.
So this is a super interesting thing. It's kind of like a kind of fill here.
What else can you add to make it more interesting?
Yeah, okay, that's one way to make the sequence longer. By the way, if you press again, then you have AABB. That's another form.
Okay.
You see now this is played 2 times. This is played 2 times.
Okay.
And here again I have the standard.
16 steps.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's the form feature.
Yeah.
Another interesting feature is the pitch accumulator.
Okay. Let's see this.
That's a bit more complicated, but super interesting. We pick one note.
Yeah.
And this note will change every turn of the sequence by 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's, for example,
in which direction?
Make it a bit simpler. Let's try this one.
Yeah.
And I go to the randomization.
Yeah.
Setting, and now I go totally up with the fader.
Okay.
You see it's lighting green.
Okay.
There are 4 positions. Topmost is green, then green, red, and red.
Okay.
So this is +2.
Yeah.
+1, -1, -2.
Okay.
I go. Let's start with +1.
Okay.
Start the sequence. This note goes up.
Yeah.
Once
all right.
every turn.
Yeah. Nice.
Or let's make it 1 down.
And how often does it happen?
It's 4 times, but
4
you can
times.
set this in the menu.
Yeah.
It's labeled here. It's the accumulator setting. In this menu, the blue buttons are global menus.
Yeah.
With settings. And here you can change. Oh, let me see. Oh, it's the clock menu here. This is set to 4.
Yeah.
If I set it here, it's just 2.
Yeah.
It's just 1 back, forth.
Yeah.
And I can make it super long. Then
if you crank it up,
it goes
it's like
down and down and down and so on.
Okay.
If I
what's the maximum in there?
16.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But the default setting is 4 because it's musically the most appealing and
not every oscillator tracks 16 octaves.
No, it's not 16 octaves. This is the number of times the sequences runs until it resets the accumulator. It has nothing to do with the pitch.
Yeah, okay.
That's the setting that you change here. I say go 1 note down or 2 notes down. And it's always within the selected scale. We will talk about scales later.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Let's make this. This will go up. This goes down. And basically, if you have set the accumulator frequency to 4, so we have out of 16 steps, we've made 64 steps. Obviously.
All right. Yeah.
So that's another way. To create longer sequences.
Nice. What else do you have?
Very performative. Then, of course, there's the idea of changing the gate. Let's call it probability, but the idea is that you omit a note sometimes.
Okay.
Or you play a note just every second time.
Yeah.
To make 8 steps, to make it more
faster.
Okay, we have still some randomization here. Let's remove that. So it's exactly playing the 3 notes. Now I can say I want an additional note, but not every time. Every second time. I go to the probability button. And this goes from up to down. So this is played 100% of the time.
Sure.
If I go once down, it plays it approximately every second time. But it's a randomization. More interesting are these settings. This is played exactly every second time. You heard? Let's make the velocity higher here. Can we hear it better? And this note we play every other second time. So there's odd and even. As you can see, now we have from 8 steps we get 16 steps.
It's another alteration.
There are more settings. There's a setting for every 4th time. You see when it's green, it means this is the non-probabilistic approach. If it's blue, it's simply random.
Okay, all right.
But randomization is... I don't like randomization very much, to be honest, because it seldom sounds musically interesting.
Okay.
For me, it's better an algorithmic approach that is kind of random because you don't control everything.
It gives you a bit of control.
But it's more organic, something repeats more, and complete random. It's just a matter of taste. So we have these randomization features, but every sequencer has them. I find it. I think it's important that you have them, but for my personal style, I don't use them.
You like to have a little bit more control over
I like
that are going on.
Sometimes I don't completely understand what's going on.
Often enough you get lost.
There's something that's repeating itself and sounds more appealing to me. So there's yet another method for creating longer patterns, longer sequences, and that has a completely different approach. So let's clear the track. You hold Control and press clear. And then all notes are reset. And let's create a sequence just with 8 steps. Let's make something simple. Whatever. Okay, there's a mini sequence. Now, there are so-called patterns. Every clock cycle, the step goes 1 forward. You know, all these backward and ping pong stuff. You can do that, but it's not so interesting. More interesting is the following. You can, for example, say go 2 steps forward and 1 backward. And several such patterns. And if you get the Moto kit, you have this cheat sheet. And you see
there are several patterns implemented.
Yes, in the track menu, which you get here, if you press this button, you get settings for the track 1, for the current track, or track whatever. It's not a global setting, it's settings per track. And one of these trackings is the track movement patterns. And that's done by the fader number 6. You see it's labeled with pattern here. And the bottom position is go forward. So second setting is go backward. Then we have this ping pong feature, which basically converts an 8-step pattern into a 14-step pattern because the first and last note is not played twice. So, but more interesting is pattern 4. This means you go 2 times forward, 1 time backwards. let's go back to this. You see how the LD works. Or let's make a simpler melody. You see? You can better hear how the pattern works.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you have pattern 5 means jump 2 steps forward and go 1 backward. So for example this.
Back to the track menu. Alright.
You hear the difference. Or there's one jump 2 forward, jump 2 backward, go 1 forward.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah.
And so on. So you see this creates longer sequences. It's not now it's not divisible by 16 sometimes, but that's can be super interesting, can create polymetric stuff if you combine this with other tracks. So that's the playing patterns.
All right.
Of course, there's also randomization. Then you complete random. Then you jump around randomly between the notes. You know this from other sequences. Yeah. So it's not
sure.
Yeah. So these.
All right.
These are a couple of ideas that breaks the limitation of 32 steps.
That's true.
With just a few buttons.
And it's pretty good to have a proper reset button, because I think you can surely get lost with all of these different
and
possibilities. And
this is meant to be performative, a performance sequence. It's not meant to create 5-minute lasting complex melodies, go to your gig and press a play button and play them. The other sequences are better for this.
Okay.
This is a sequencer for hands-on and playing, improvisation, performing. That's the main task.
Matthias, you mentioned notes and scales earlier.
Yes.
How do you handle this in the sequencer?
Yeah, also the sequencer usually is built around scales.
Yeah.
Because you always are the safety net.
Yeah.
Of your chosen scale.
Yeah.
So that prevents from playing illegal notes, outside notes.
Okay.
So that's the default way, but you can tweak it in many ways. So one obvious simple way is this CRO button. CRO, it doesn't mean chronologic or something, it's chromatic.
Okay.
So you switch to the chromatic scale.
Yeah.
This means basically you have all 12 notes
at hand.
So there's just one chromatic scale, there's no root note anymore.
Obviously.
Let's make an 8-step pattern again.
Yeah.
And now I can every notch is one half tone. So you have access to the half tones. Of course, it's then either you want to play out and want to make chaos, or you know exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, this is a per track parameter, right?
Yeah, it's a per track. So if I change the track, you see the button goes on and off. It reflects the current state of this track.
All right.
Another super interesting thing that's really unique is the note selection. You see, you have here, you have 7 buttons.
Yeah.
And these 7 buttons represent the 7 scale notes.
Yeah.
In the typical Western scale.
Yeah.
We have root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th, 30th. This is jazz notation.
Yeah.
Basically, 9 is the same as the 2nd.
Yeah.
So you have access to the 7 notes.
All right.
And the interesting thing is, if you have let's make a 16-step melody. It's a bit more interesting. It's here. We have melody running, and now you can play with this.
Yeah.
You can remove notes. For example, I can say, let's restrict to a DROID.
Yeah.
Your information does not get lost. The faders will move back to the original positions if you re-enable the notes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's nice.
So you can really jam this thing. There's even one cool feature. If you hold the control button and select one of the notes, all others go out. So you can like in unisono mode, you can.
So does it remember which ones have been activated before?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So when you
but it's very simple to re-enable them.
So you basically are not, you don't have a second shortcut turning it off again. And then
it just clears the other one, and that's super cool for jamming melodies like.
All right.
And so on. So that's
nice.
It's
very fast and immediate.
Yeah, you can. It doesn't harm anything. You can. You just make it. You restrict your harmonic situation to a simple thing, which can create tension.
Yeah.
And then you release it, come back to the original melody. Of course, if you have a restriction and now you move the faders, now they are restricted to the...
Yeah. So the notches are also...
the notches represent the enabled notes. Let's just enable the root note. You see, I just have 3 positions here now. Of course, if I now come back, the faders that I have moved have lost the previous information. Now they are set to these notes.
Yeah.
We have seen we have 3 octaves here.
Yeah.
You can change that. You go to the first menu, and there is the 8th fader, the range setting. It selects the number of octaves that this track can play.
Okay.
If I crank it up a bit, you see the melody spreads out over a large area.
Yeah.
And at some point the notches get lost because there are too many.
It's too fine then.
It's limited to 25 notches because it doesn't work out anyway.
Yeah.
So if I enable 5 octaves, you see I have a super great range now. But the notches are disabled.
Yeah.
Of course, if I deselect some of the notes, then you again feel the notches because now you have octave switches.
Yeah. Makes sense, yeah.
So that's the range. I would recommend setting the range to the lowest value that works out for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't...
What your oscillator is capable of.
Yeah, and what your musical ideas. If you play a bass voice, you don't need super high octaves.
Yeah.
Let's add a second track. Let's go to track 4.
Yeah.
Let's make this 12 steps.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the
global menu.
This is the octave switch for all voices.
Yeah. So, all right.
As you can hear.
Yeah.
If you go to the track menu, you have an octave switch at the same place, which is just for one track. So I'm at track 4 here.
Yeah. That's why there is 2 times octave written down here.
Yes.
One is for the track menu, the other one is
this label is for track menu. This is for the Arpeggiator, and this one is for the global menu. So it's in this order here. Labels. Or you can go to the track 1. Let's call it bass. Make it lower. Yeah, that's the octave switch. Super interesting is all the second switch here. Let's create a melody here. Let's go to track 4. I mute track 1 for the while. So let's make a melody. Let's remove a bit of the delay here so we can hear better. Let's restrict it to pentatonic. Okay, now we can clearly hear melody.
Yeah.
I go to the track menu and we have this green fader.
Yeah.
And it's called diatonic transposition.
Yeah. I was wondering what that is.
Yeah, if I go 1 notch up.
Yeah.
Every note in the sequence is shifted by one of these selected scale notes up.
All right.
So you're still in the scale.
Yeah.
You get interesting variations of a melody.
Yeah.
You never go out.
Yeah.
And especially interesting if you combine it with the other track. So let's re-enable the bass. The bass plays just the DROID notes.
Yeah.
Let's make the bass a bit lower.
It's okay.
So, okay, now if we make diatonic transposition for the track 4.
Yeah.
You hear the interesting variation.
Immediate fun, yeah.
And sometimes you think, oh, it sounds much better than my original melody.
Yeah.
It gives more tension, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, this sounds very simple to me.
Yeah.
Like it's in the DROID.
Yeah.
I go on down, and I get this interesting chord notes like 9, 11, 13.
Yeah.
You have 1, 3, 5.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
And now let's make it more harmonic tension just by trying out.
Yeah.
Of course, you can go in both directions.
And while doing
octave.
that,
of course, you can jam these buttons.
Or jam out the buttons.
Yeah. I love this very much. This diatonic transposition. It also exists in the main menu. By the way, if you touch the button below the fader, it goes to the default position. No transposition. Yeah. So you always can come back. Let's keep it here for a while.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, you have this is also in the main menu. You can.
Okay, so you can jam the whole track at once and bring it back to where we were.
Then don't mix up with this transposition. Now we have the absolute transposition just to understand the difference. If I go up here, we are in C minor now. If you go up, now we are in C sharp minor.
Yeah, okay.
It's super interesting, but something completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very simple operation. Just shift everything up by semitones. Yeah, and bringing us to these two faders, the question is how can you set the scale? I've said we have a C minor.
Yeah.
This is the root note.
Yeah.
Of course, it's CV controllable from the outside. In my live system, I control it from the outside.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you use this as a source, you have here the root note.
Yeah.
Now get to C sharp.
Yeah.
It's not a transposition.
Yeah.
You see, you can hear the overall height of all the melodies stays roughly the same. It's just it squeezes the notes into the nearest position, so that's within the selected scale. Because if I want to go from C to G, maybe, I don't want to do it like this, that everything goes higher.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
so that's
totally makes sense. Yeah.
This fader changes. I mean, a scale is a subset of 7 notes from 12.
Yeah.
And this selects which of the 7 notes.
Yeah.
Basically. And this is the scale. There are 12 different scales mapped to this fader.
Okay.
They are in the cheat sheet.
Yeah.
They have different colors. For example, the blue is the natural minor.
Yeah.
If I go here, this is the natural major.
Yeah.
As you can hear. And this is, for example, is a Dorian minor, which is my favorite scale.
Okay.
It has the large 13th.
Is it also your favorite color?
No. This guy. But I like the Dorian scale because it's more funky. You know, the 13 is more jazzy, funky. That's my method of taste.
So you're coming from jazz, right?
Yeah, I have a jazz background, so I like this kind of sounds. By the way, the 13 is not enabled anyway, so currently there's no difference between natural minor and the Dorian minor. Now we can hear the Dorian.
Yeah.
And let's go to the natural. One note is just one note changes.
Yeah.
And I like this sound.
Matthias, what does TBR stand for?
TBR stands for Transpose by Root Note.
Oh.
And that's a feature that I've originally invented for the Symphonion, and we need to listen in order to understand it. So let's make a simple bass.
Okay.
We just need the bass for. I mute the channel 4.
All right.
So we have simple bass.
Yeah.
Now we have a melody. Let's make a simple melody. Let's make, for example, it 16 notes. So the simpler it is, the better we understand what's going on.
All right.
Let's try. So maybe this.
All right.
Okay, now if I change we go back to the scale setting, we change the root note.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You see the melody is kind of in the same pitch.
Yeah.
But it's adapted to fit the scale. Now, if I enable this transpose by root, in addition to changing the root note, it's transposed by that number of steps. So the exactly same melody is. You get the melody doesn't change anymore. It's shifted by the amount the root note changes, so it uses the same scale notes. It starts with if the melody starts with the root note, it plays the 3rd and the 5th.
Yeah.
It also does after changing this fader.
Okay. And this is a per track parameter,
yeah,
right?
Per track, because the bass does not change here.
Even though we are in the global menu,
That's not something from the menu. This is just a button here. I just need the menu for changing the root.
Right.
Root node.
Yeah. So even though you are in the global root node menu, TBR is only for the activated track.
Yes,
this is what I wanted to know.
Can you hear the difference?
Yeah, obviously.
Now the exactly same melody shift. I disable it. The melody changes because the node that's currently the root node will be the fifth here.
Yeah.
So you get a different characteristic melody. Yeah. So both are musically super interesting.
Yeah.
But most sequences just actually I've never seen this feature anywhere else. Now I can. It's like music. You go from the first.
Yeah. You
want the melody to follow here in this case. So that's the transpose by root feature.
Okay.
I couldn't think of a better name for it.
Yeah, I mean
it's transposed by the same amount. The root node changes.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind it.
All right. Super cool. And what does inv mean? Invert,
inversion.
I guess.
Yeah, it's an inversion, and it's inversion in the sense of pitches. Let's press it.
Yeah.
You see, the first note is now the highest note.
Okay.
It just inverts every fader, like it flips every fader around.
Yeah. So, but this is not represented mechanically.
Yeah, genau. You
the
cannot see it's just the way it's played. Now, the bottom position means the highest note.
Yeah.
And the top position is a very simple way. It's a kind of similar melody.
Yeah.
You know? It's a variation of the melody.
Yeah.
The listener still is locked into the melody. It's the same melody, but it's a different variation of the melody.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, always within the scale. Or maybe just to try it.
All right. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, these are the jam buttons, you know.
Yeah.
By the way, I have a CV control of the root node. I can change the root node here with these 12 buttons, which is much easier. I just used it as a different DROID system, and I patched the output of the CV here.
Nice. Say, Matthias, this ARP button, does it reference to an arpeggiator?
Yeah, in fact, yes. It stands for Arpeggiator, but I think it's a bit different from that what you usually expect.
Show me.
This is a per track setting.
Yes.
If I switch it on for a track, it changes to a completely different mode how to generate melodies. Mm-hmm. Now we have an algorithmic melody generation. The pitches are not used anymore. Your fader settings for the pitches.
Yeah.
And let's start the sequence and then switch on the arpeggiator, and we can see what happens. This is a plain normal melody. Now I switch on this.
All right.
As you can see, now we have the default mode. It plays 16th notes, and every clock tick it goes one note up.
All right.
Within the scale. And now we have.
Of course, it's tied to the selected.
You have thousands of options now to change this melody. For example, you can change. Let's disable the drums and track one for the while. We just hear this.
Can we also maybe drop one octave?
Let's make the sound different.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, so now you have first thing is the note selection.
Yeah.
It's applied, of course. Which is super interesting. Along this, you can jam with this.
Yeah.
For hours. Maybe a bit of delay. With the delay, you get kind of chord voicings, you know.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
I love this. Super for jamming. Another interesting thing is the arpeggiator runs a certain range, like one octave, for example.
Yeah.
And the more notes you add it, you select, the longer the cycle gets.
Yeah.
So you get polymetric variations.
3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps, and so on and so on.
Now you have 5 steps. You change or just root note. You get 3 steps.
Yeah.
I could jam forever this. Then you have these 2 knobs here.
Yeah.
One is the bass and one's the range. So if I go down with the bass, we start with lower notes.
All right. Nice.
And this knob is how far up the arpeggio goes from the bass note. So if I turn this off,
I can see the buttons changing.
They indicate the position of,
so you have
this knob.
Feedback.
Yeah, because
that's
this knob is shared between the tracks, so it's kind of overlaid.
Yeah.
So if I set the range to 1, just get 1 note. But now you can jam with this.
Within the set scale and the set notes.
Let's reduce the delay a bit so you can better hear. Also a way of jamming.
All right. Does it also work with chromatic mode?
Should. No, it doesn't. So I can jam this.
Yeah.
Then if you now crank up the range again, you again get this polymetric feeling.
Yeah.
This 3, 4.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
I remove 1 note. We get back to 4.
Yeah.
Super interesting. So this is the range. Then let's talk about the actual pattern, because it plays the clock all the time.
Yeah.
Can be pretty boring. You can switch to use the gates that you selected for your sequence here.
Yeah.
That's done in this track menu. If the Arpeggiator is enabled, the track menu is the Arpeggiator menu. And now the bottommost line is the one that's valid now. And if you look at the cheat sheet, you see this fader 8 for the clock selects what clock to use for the Arpeggiator. So the default value is to use the master clock.
Yeah.
If I go 1 step up, I use this gate from the sequence. So let's go back to the sequence.
Yeah.
You see?
So only the active steps are actually in the arpeggio.
Nice. Yeah, okay, so then you have further settings and get clock divisions or clock multiplications, to be precise, that are faster. So let's go back to the track menu.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with this, can make the different sound. Yes, let's keep the clock for the while, like here, and then let's talk about the pattern. You see, we have the pattern.
Yeah.
All the other settings in the Arpeggiator menu change the algorithm how the arpeggio is created.
Yeah.
So obviously, one thing is that you want to do is to we go upwards. Let's go downwards.
Yeah.
It's this fader, and there's a middle position where it goes up and down.
All right. And pressing that button.
No,
this is it's just an indicator.
Yeah. It's just the 3 settings. There is no kind of default. What
default,
you like.
Yeah.
There's no default here. It's just up, down, ping pong.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Okay, let's make the clock again slower.
Mm-hmm.
Let's set this to up again, so we can hear the difference. Then we have this is an octave switch.
Yeah.
like always. But we have a second switch that's called octaving. That's something different.
Yeah.
If I go to the first settings, every note is followed by the same note 1 octave higher.
Yeah.
Which is again a super interesting effect. You can combine this, of course, with the other settings, for example, up and down.
Mm-hmm. Is it also combinable with the butterfly effect?
Yeah, butterfly. I've not talked about the butterfly. Let's start the butterfly.
Yeah.
Let's set this. Butterfly is, if you look at the range of the arpeggio, you have the lowest note, the highest note, and this scale in between.
Yeah.
With the butterfly, you change the mode to the following thing: play the lowest note, then the highest note, then the second lowest, the second highest, and so on. So if I enable this, it sounds like this. And suddenly you get some kind of melody, some weird. Let's enable the bass.
Yeah.
I like this. And by chance, it's a polymetric tension.
Yeah.
But if I increase the range, maybe. Or make it lower. Oh no, I'm at track 1. Sorry, here.
And what happens if you combine this with auto reset?
Auto reset. Let's first do just auto reset.
Okay.
Mute this stuff. So we have track 4. Auto reset resets the arpeggio after a certain number of clock ticks, regardless what's happening.
Yeah.
For example, I set this to 1. I just get 1, obviously. So the range doesn't play any role anymore. Let's make 4. So this is a case where I don't want this polymetric stuff going on.
Yeah.
I want just 4 steps.
Yeah.
Always have 4 steps now.
Yeah. Even if you put all of them.
Yeah, because after this it's 4th note, it starts from the beginning.
End. Yeah. And what? So it's always starting from the root in this case.
In this case, you can set the start note, but here it starts from the root note.
Yeah.
I can change the bass. We're always in time.
Yeah.
Also interesting for jamming. Also, track 4.
And if you add another one, it's 5.
Now it's 5. Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Super interesting. Okay, so just combine something and something happens.
Yeah.
Octave switch. Just jam it.
Maybe a bit too much.
Jam it.
Nice.
Root note change. Back to C minor.
Pretty neat.
I like with the Arpeggiator, it's always interesting to have 2 controls, something like the filter cutoff, and make it short and long. This is I like this super interesting variation.
I mean, it is just so logical to use this kind of
and then we have still pattern and drop. No, not explained. Let me show pattern and drop.
Okay,
it's
all right.
Fun. Let's go
for it.
Everything to.
I mean, it's already pretty rich in features. This Arpeggiator.
But anyway, let's enable the drop feature.
Yeah.
With this, you can say drop. It's also in the cheat sheet. Usually, every of these notes in this case are played. Now I can say drop every second note. Interesting thing is, in the lower octave you get root, third, 5, 7, and in the upper you get 9, 11, 13. Because if you have 7 notes and drop every second, the 7 repeats, then it doesn't repeat in the octave. That's the reason why you get this interesting.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Or for example, you can say play 2 and then drop 1. This is the setting. Super interesting. Combination with, don't know, octaving. You can jam forever.
Endless hours of fun.
Yeah, and then we have still something to show.
Yeah.
The patterns.
What would that be? The patterns.
Yeah. Okay.
Finally.
Forward, backward, for example.
This is based on the same idea that we have with the patterns in the track menu, right?
Very similar. Let's go up and down with this pattern. Octaving added. Yeah, try the next one. Yeah, it's like some baroque etudes for playing clarinet. I know these exercises. If you play saxophone or clarinet, you will play lots of these. Change some notes.
Yeah.
Omit the root note. Yeah, and now you can use again the jam mode.
Yeah.
Control.
Nice.
And this is a couple of random setups, of course, but as I said, I don't like random very much. This would be here. Play just any note from the selected range by random. I think it's not so interesting. Yeah.
It's, every once in a while, if you're jamming
maybe, yes. I mean,
along and you have your patterns in there and just give it a little whiff of randomness every once in a while. Does loosen it up a little bit, right? Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's basically the Arpeggiator. You can also use the Arpeggiator for playing breaks, fills.
All right.
So
show me.
Let's go back to the original melody.
Yep.
For this. Now it's shifted by one note, as you can hear.
Yeah.
Through all experiments. I can reset the track here with the reset button. And yeah, now if I want to play a fill,
jam the Arpeggiator throughout the whole set. Yeah.
Also works for the bass.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Maybe make it lower here. You hear the bass?
Yeah.
Make a bit louder.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pretty
Introduce
cool.
a little fill just with one button.
Yeah. So everything is basically very hands-on and for live performances.
Yeah, of course you need to train a bit with it.
Yeah.
Exercise a bit.
Yeah.
With every instrument you need to do that, but then you can jam around for hours.
now we had everything under control. How about randomizing things? Even though you said you didn't like random too much.
Yes,
I'm sure you implemented some features that are capable of.
I mean, everybody expects a sequencer to have some randomization, and it can be interesting. But we have of course, some randomization plus.
All right.
So let's start with let's restart. Let's make a restart the track. So we have track 1, baseline. Okay, so now one idea of randomization is to randomize the pitch of a note.
Yes.
Let's get back to an 8-step sequence so we can hear better. Okay, now we want this last note to have a random pitch.
Yeah.
So I go to the random mode. See, now the faders represent the randomness of the pitch.
All right.
So there's no randomness. I make a low randomness.
So still controlled randomness.
It just selects the number of maximum range that it can add.
All right.
Mid randomization. And most. Of course, within the scale. Within the scale, of course, yeah. And within the range that we have discussed previously, where we can set that the total range of the voice. Let's make 2 additional octaves.
Yeah.
You can hear that this randomization for a bass is, for my taste, too much.
Yeah.
But if you just make low randomization, it stays within a reasonable range. That's
okay. So it's not only yeah.
And it's always added on top.
It's
not reduced. If you want to make it lower, then simply make the note lower at the first place.
Yeah.
By the way, if the lowest is not low enough for you, make the octave switch lower. Now it's lower, and then you can again raise the note, so we have some headroom down. Okay. So simple melody. Okay, randomization. So we have the pitch randomization.
Yeah.
Then we can speak about the gate randomization. That is the question: should the note be played or shouldn't it be played?
Yeah.
This is the probability. At the top position, we have 100% probability.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And we already talked about that feature when we talked about making longer sequences.
Yeah.
And basically, you have 8 different settings, and this setting, you see it blinks.
Yeah.
It means we have a 50% chance of that note being played. We skip these green settings. This is 25% for the note. So it's not very often. Make a bit more.
Yeah. And it only applies to the activated steps, obviously.
Yes, obviously. And here we have a 12.5%. And in the lowest position, these steps will be played if the random choice for this note is active.
Yeah.
So let's make this 50%. So either none of the notes is played or all of the notes.
Yeah.
Let's wait for our luck. There it is. Okay.
As you're saying luck, what's up with this luck button here?
Yeah, the luck button is...
Are we already ready for that?
Yeah, so we have seen some randomization that automatically happens again and again.
Yeah.
Each turn. Now, let's have a look at the luck button. That's completely different. So the luck button once changes your sequence.
Yeah.
And then you can edit it to your like. Let's go back to 16 steps.
Yeah.
If I press super short, just one or two of the faders will move.
Yeah.
If you keep here.
Dancing faders.
And you can randomize everything here. Also the velocity. You have velocity here. Let's randomize it.
All right.
And then if I don't like it, let's change it.
And how do you randomize the gates?
Hold the control button.
For that? All right.
And same principle.
That's nice. That already gets me bouncing.
Let's add some.
There you go.
Yeah, it's we had luck.
Yeah, we had luck. It's a good one.
Yeah, so that's Yeah, and then we have something weird that needs a bit more work to set up.
Okay.
But
what would that be?
Super interesting for building up a live set, reducing energy, creating more energy.
Yeah.
Let's for the while reduce the other voices so they can hear what's going on. So we have this melody.
Yeah.
Now we can prepare the melody in a way that we say some of the notes are more important, more prominent, some are less important.
Yeah.
Like a watermark. Let's go back to the 8 steps.
Yeah.
Let's increase the velocity a bit. This one. Okay. Okay. Let's say most times we just want the first note.
Yeah.
And then we want to add more and more notes, but in a controlled way.
Yeah.
Not with any randomness.
Yeah.
So what I need to do is I go to activity and I need to assign an activity level for each of the notes.
Oh, okay. What does it mean?
Let's just randomly select some levels here.
Okay, these are also notched?
Yes, notched. You have 8 positions.
Okay.
This note is going to be played always.
Yeah.
So now I go to the track menu and we have this activity fader here.
Yeah.
Now I select the minimum activity a note must have to be played.
Yeah.
You see?
Oh, I can see where this is going. So this is a 2-parameter kind of a hack to make things more interesting.
That makes it more complicated, but you have complete control what's going on. So if I want to add notes to the melody, let's go back to this page. So let's say this note is position 1. This is position 2.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's no note. Position 2. This is position 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so I go back to the track menu. Play just position 0 notes.
Okay.
Add a second note.
Yeah. All right.
I make the decay shorter so we don't hear the additional pitch. And now I get all notes. And that's super in jams because you can Let's if you want to do a master reset, press Control and make reset, and everything goes back to start. Because if you change the length and so on, you run off.
Sure, you get lost every once in a while.
Okay, now I jam along.
Yeah. It also seems to be a pretty fast way to create variation.
Yeah, and you prepare how you want to build up your melodies.
Yeah.
Now we have 3 notes. Music goes on, get more, and then.
Okay, and in the end you just.
Let's make a few more. Let's make here. Every note. But the nice thing about the notch fader is that you can super precisely control.
Yeah, you can dial it in.
Now is the next part. I want to make more energy and add notes to it.
What about ratchets?
Yeah, let's talk about ratchets. Ratchet means that one step is divided into faster sub-steps.
Yeah.
And you get gates for them.
Yeah.
So let's run our simple melody.
Yes.
Before we start, we make the clock slower, that we can better hear what's going on. We talk about the clock later. Just for now, I make it slower. That's enough to know for you. Back to ratchets. Now, I activate the ratchets for this note.
Yes.
Or maybe this one. I go 1 notch up. I have 2 ratchets here.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe 3. Maybe 4. Here 2. By the way, it's another way to make your melody longer.
Yeah.
You make a clock division by 2. It's running half time, then you use ratchets in certain positions.
Yeah.
And you can even play different notes for the repetitions in the ratchet.
Oh, come on.
And that's
seriously?
This knob, it's labeled here ratchet. If you're not in arpeggiator mode, this knob means it's a kind of mini arpeggiator for the ratchets.
Or you put an arpeggiator.
Yeah, and if I turn it, this button lights. It's you have 15 positions, and this 8 is the middle position. Now let's go one up. So when the ratchet comes, it plays up a bit.
Okay.
Can create super interesting melodies. Or
of course, everything is in scale.
Of course.
Nice.
I love it. Let's crank up the clock a bit. I love this.
Very good. Okay.
Okay, let's add some bass here. Yeah, that's the arpeggiator. The mini arpeggiator for the ratchets.
All right. And there is another one that is not ratchets but repetitions.
Yeah, it's something similar, but okay, let's mute this and this. Let's go to track 4 again. Remove all the ratchets. Okay, so we have this melody. Now we can say I have. Let's go to 8 steps here for the while. So
okay,
let's turn this off. Now you can go to the repeats here. Repeats, where do we have here? And now you can say this step, for example, this is not 1 clock cycle, it's up to 16 clock cycles. So if I go here, it's longer. It's longer.
Yeah. So it's not like ratchets, more notes packed into the length of one note.
It's just the length of the steps. It's not 1 clock cycle, but 3 maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe 4. And now you can decide it's an idea from the Metropolis sequencer, basically. It has the same settings. And one setting is important. You can now control how the gate is being played.
Yeah.
Now we have one gate, just the first repetition gets a gate.
Yeah.
But you can change this with the pattern. And there are 4 settings, like in Metropolis. You get just the first gate. Now you play all repetitions get an own gate, and then you can make one long gate.
I see where this is going.
If you add a bit of sustain, this is a long gate, and the last setting is tie this to the next note.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's keep the second position for a while. This is interesting because now, if we go back to the note, you see we are here.
Yeah.
We can again enable the mini arpeggiator this time for the repetitions.
Yeah.
So this is the upper knob here.
Yeah.
So all the repetitions go one up in the scale of the electric note. Of course.
Yeah.
And you see we can make a longer pattern from this.
Yeah.
Okay, here the gate pattern is still just the first. Let's change it here.
Yeah, the gate pattern needs to be activated to have the mini arpeggiator running.
Yes, yeah. Of course. And there's one new feature. If you hold the control button, yeah, the question is how long is the sequence here?
Yeah,
you can say it's 1 plus this plus 1 1 1 plus this and so on.
Yeah.
And let's craft it in a way that we have 16 steps. Okay, let's start with 8. You know, no repetition. Oh, sorry. okay, we have 8 steps.
Yeah.
If I make 2 repetitions, that's 1, 2.
Yeah.
We have 10 steps. Make here 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 14 steps. Maybe here 2. Should be 16 steps. You see, it's in time.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the original clock.
Yeah.
Now, if I wanted, now there's a new way to change the repetitions in a way that it's still 16 steps.
Yeah.
And that's by holding control.
Yeah.
And moving the fader of the repetition. So if the idea is if I remove 1 repetition here, the next step will get 1.
Oh.
So it's still 16 steps.
So you're subtracting on 1 fader, and this is basically adding it to the next one.
So as long as you don't go to the limits, the number of steps is always kept constant.
Okay.
And this allows you when jamming to stay at your 16 steps.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, maybe add some ratchets. Why not?
So ratchets can also sit on top of repetitions. Okay. Yeah, why not?
So the arpeggiator arpeggiates the arpeggiator.
Yeah, well. So there is 2 different mini arpeggiators, one for the repetitions and the other one for the ratchets, and you can stack them up on another.
Yeah, also, you can also arpeggiate in the other direction, of course.
Okay. So like one up and the other one down.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's funky.
Yeah, sometimes interesting things happen.
Yeah.
And then you can combine this, of course, with the gate probability and say this funny stuff here.
Yeah.
Should just be played every second time.
Or with the activity, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Nice.
Yes, that's a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff, yeah. Hey Matthias, we talked a lot about improvising and improvised music and the capabilities of improvising with this beautiful patch. How about presets?
Yeah, presets. You have 3 presets. Just to make everything clear, this is not meant for general storage of a complete song that you bring to your gig. I mean, you can the idea is mainly about jamming.
Yeah.
Of course, you can prepare different patterns in the 3 presets, but the presets are made in a way that supports jamming.
Yeah.
So let's, for example, have this bass melody.
Yeah.
First of all, the presets, buttons A, B, C, are per track.
Okay.
So we have track 1. We have these 3 buttons. I can save the current settings of all faders, the melody, and also these options like AAAB, Inversion, and stuff.
All right.
Into a preset by pressing the button long.
Okay.
So if I make a long press on A, see now it blinks, it's saved in preset A.
All right.
So I can change something. And for reloading the preset, I need to hold control and press the button. It's saved because this can ruin your current sequence. So
it's basically a fail-safe.
Yeah. So and the idea is if you load a preset, it does not mean that it resets. It does no reset. You can do it on the fly, so you don't lose your groove.
All right.
So that's an important feature. So you can jam along and add things and make everything crazy, so on, and come back.
And whenever you press, you jump to the exact spot where the melody is at the moment.
You don't jump. It just goes on running.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't jump. The faders are reloaded to new position.
Jump back to the position that they have been before. All right.
I could make a variation and save this into preset B, maybe. Long press. And now I can,
jump between
simple version,
both of them,
complex version.
Okay, so
that's everything.
Again, a thing that is very handy for improvising, because you can totally noodle away with whatever you have going on, and then jump back to a more
exactly
reduced or more well-mannered version of what you have been playing before. That's nice. Awesome. So this you have 3 times 4.
Yeah, each track has 3 presets.
Yeah.
And clear is like a preset that's empty.
Okay.
So you can just load it. You cannot save it.
Okay.
But I can load the empty preset.
Yeah. Yeah, well, okay. I see. I get your point.
That's the reason why it's red in this row.
Yeah. That's for that reason. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just a long press on the clear. Don't forget, it's a factory reset of everything.
Yeah.
And that's erases all 4 tracks.
Nice.
Yes, that's a preset. There's even a small hack. There's a kind of additional 4th mini preset. Because you have this copy and paste button.
Yeah.
The original idea of the copy and paste button is that you can copy.
I see where this is going.
I can copy this 16 faders. Then I go to the second page, and with Control I can paste it here. So in your copy buffer is a kind of small mini preset.
Okay.
So I can use this. I stay on the page. I just copy it, jam around, and paste it. Original.
There you are.
But it's just this few, just these 16 faders.
Yeah. So with the copy paste, you basically copy what is actually visible.
What you see, at
the moment right now.
And and the presets are saved to the SD card.
Yeah.
Automatically. So if you switch off your system, switch it on again, everything is like it was. The presets, also the current sequence.
All right.
Everything is preserved, of course.
Preserved. That's nice. So you could easily go to a jam session with 3 prepared or something like 4 tracks times 3 presets, and then simply start with something and
or for your live gig can prepare different bass lines and you have secure starting points for your jam.
Yeah, that's
that's the idea.
Super.
So it's not a big save where you put hundreds of songs into. For that you would probably rather use a Circlone or something.
Sure.
You have a large storage of many songs and at your live gig you just select them and fire them up.
Yeah.
So this is more for jamming. Bring small fragments with you and play.
Perform.
Don't program. Play. That's the motto.
Yeah. Nice. Time is ticking.
Yeah. Okay. So
what's up with the clock?
Clocking. Of course, as every sequencer, it has a built-in clock. And as every good sequencer, it's clockable from outside. So there are several ways to clock it. You can clock it via gate.
Yeah.
You can clock it via MIDI, a standard cable. You can clock it via USB MIDI. It automatically detects an incoming clock and uses that. Unless you enable the internal clock, then that has always precedence.
Yeah.
So if you jam together with somebody and you don't like his clock speed, you can override
turn on your own clock. Okay.
So the clock has a global menu. It's here a blue menu. This one.
Yeah.
So now we have to look at the second row at the stickers here. So the question is, how can I set a precise BPM speed without a display?
Yeah.
In fact, a difficult question. It took me a couple of years to find out a good solution.
Oh.
But the solution is astonishingly simple. You see these 3 faders, that's 100, 10, and 1 BPM.
Yeah.
So this is basically 0 BPM.
Yeah.
100 BPM, 1, 0, 0.
Yeah.
120, I take this 2 times
2
up.
notches up.
So now we have exactly 120.
Okay.
130.
Yeah.
131. Pretty simple.
Of course.
So, but what I also wanted was a flexible clock where I can continuously speed up or slow down a clock.
Okay.
So for that reason, you have the fourth fader. It's labeled cont.
Yeah.
So you can slow down your music.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's add a couple of more voices here. And you can crank it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the delay needs some time to adapt. Let's remove the delay for the while here.
Yeah, but because one question comes to my mind immediately. If you're nudging it by hand and you wish to come back to 120 immediately, how do you do that?
You touch this button, it's green, then it's exactly 0. So this is double speed. This is 0.
Okay.
So you can really stall the clock to 0, which is cool for ending.
Yeah.
For the end of a gig, if you like.
Yeah.
Slower and slower and slower and slower and slower and end.
And end. Okay.
Yeah, if you touch it, it goes back to
all right.
Normal. Okay, and then you have a swing.
Yeah.
Let's add a couple of hi-hats that you can hear.
Shuffling along.
Yeah, shuffle swing. I love shuffle grooves actually.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right.
Yeah, that's it. Then you have an auxiliary clock output if you like.
Yeah.
And this fader defines a clock divider on the output clock. So for example, you can say,
okay,
I need the clock divided by 4 for clocking my delay or something.
Yeah.
So it's just map this fader to an auxiliary output and you get this addition.
All right.
Yeah, that's basically and this fader is for starting and stopping the internal clock.
Okay.
So if you stop the internal clock and have an external clock, it runs anyway.
Okay.
But with the external clock, you can stop it here.
Yeah.
And if you get the stop signal via MIDI, it overrides this button.
The play button.
Yeah, you can start the play. So if you jam together, the other one has a sequencer, you throw over MIDI cable, and when he presses play, you start as well in sync.
Okay.
But anyway, you can stop and start if you like, then you're out of sync, of course.
Yeah.
And this way you override the external clock.
Okay.
So you don't need to remove any cables or something.
Yeah, that's clever, yeah.
If you make music together and you want to check out something and the other guy is working his own, you just make your own clock and
make your own clock.
Here we go. Yeah. So that's the reason why we have this switch. You can even touch the button if you don't like to move the fader.
Yeah.
So it's a bit fun here in this place. Yeah, that's cool. That's the clocking. I think it's yeah, that's fun. Yeah, especially if you play alone, you can use. It's a certain style of making music when you work with clock tempo. Like in classical music, you don't have a steady clock. It gets slower and faster and everything. So I think can be interesting to introduce this as a part of it. If you're not playing techno or something, but more kind of melodical stuff, then it can be interesting to work with a flexible clock. I like this.
I think it's a topic that is to be explored, even in the danceable electronic music. It is for instance, in a breakdown or something, you just like push it down a notch to really bring the crowd down, and then speed it up as soon as you pick up the kick again. Yeah, it's a nice feature. Awesome.
Yeah, that's then together with clock is start stop button. If you start, it's also a reset.
Yeah,
but you have the reset. This button resets the current track, and with control it resets all tracks.
Okay. So if you got lost with
if one track gets out of sync for any reason, you can restart that track.
Count and whatsoever, you can simply reset it right there.
Yeah, sometimes if you have lots of voices and sometimes they get out of sync, you can forcibly create a break in your music.
Yeah.
And count to 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. And start again. This a kind of emergency solution in some situations. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you just want to pause with no reset, you can stop the clock and it will pick up where it was.
Okay. Nice.
So that's it basically. Yeah, MIDI. Yes, MIDI. Of course, you can. I've already said you have MIDI clock input is automatically recognized if it's available. MIDI output clock is sent.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, we haven't talked about MIDI. The sequencer can control MIDI via TRS or DIN cable.
Yeah.
It has 2 ports for that.
Yeah.
The Master 18, which is mounted.
The Moto
here.
kit.
Yeah, and the Moto kit is contained, or you buy it as an extra module.
Yeah, exactly.
And USB, so you have 3 independent MIDI output ports.
Okay.
And for selecting the MIDI output channel, the mapping to the tracks, you need the DROID Forge. And there's a menu where you can select that.
Yeah.
So everything else, you don't need any computer. So every functionality we've seen here works
straight away
without using a computer, basically. So
awesome.
For the MIDI configuration, it has lots of parameters, and configuring it here, I thought it's a waste of.
Doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's the clock.
That's the clock. Can the MFPS do that?
What?
Polymetrics, polyrhythmics?
Sure. Let's talk about the difference first.
Yeah, good idea.
Let's start with polymetric, because many times people say polyrhythmic and actually mean polymetric, and sometimes they're even the same.
Okay.
They have some overlaps, I think.
Yeah.
But polymetric would mean, for example, that one sequence repeats after, let's say, 15 steps and the other after 16 steps.
Yeah.
And so by that way, it shifts every cycle, it shifts by 1 note.
Mm-hmm.
And after 15 times 16 steps, they join together. Okay, so let's run a simple sequence.
So, and what's the difference to the polyrhythmic then?
Polyrhythmic would mean that one sequence plays 5 steps in the same time as the other plays 4 steps.
For instance, yeah. Okay.
That's a 4/5 polyrhythmic, which is much more complex.
Okay.
But if you make 3/2, you get triads, for example. That's simpler. Okay, triplets, not triads, triplets. Sorry. Okay, so let's start this simple sequence.
Okay.
It's actually 32 steps, but they're very similar. We have on the second page, we have 1 note difference here.
Mm-hmm. So it's easier for the viewer to count.
Yeah, okay. So now polymetric would mean that we need at least 2 voices and let them have a different metric. Okay. So I enable this bass voice here. Let's add the drums so we can see where the 1 is. Mm-hmm. And we see on the 1 we get this high pitched tone. Tick. Okay, now in order to create polymetric, we want to change the length of this track, and we have several ways to do that. Yeah. So one we already have seen. If you press this start end button here, you can say, okay, this sequence goes ends somewhere else, and if it's not a division of the other one, so if we have 32 steps and make it 16, it's not really polymetric.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
So let's for example make 7. Yeah. Now we get this typical polymetric groove. The question is, how can I come back?
Yeah. Good question, actually, because you could lose the timing then.
Yeah, of course. If I make it 16 now, I'm somewhere. Maybe I want this, but usually I don't want this. And there's one simple way to get back. You press the clear button. Yeah. The clear button removes everything that changes the length of the track.
Okay.
And also resyncs to the original clock.
Okay.
So I press clear. Now we see we are again in our original groove. So for this start-end thing, if the start point is 1 and the end is somewhere, there's a shortcut. Yeah. And the shortcut is in the track menu. It's auto reset. So it's not quite the same. It's even simpler because if you combine this with repetition, you get some different results. But auto reset would mean I set this to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now every third clock cycle, it restarts from the beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
And while this sounds easy, remember, you can combine this, for example, with diatonic transposition. and remove auto reset, and we are back where we have been.
Okay.
So that's two ways to change the length of the sequence and create this polymetric tension. Then something similar, but it's not polymetric. You can shift all 16 steps by one step or several forward and back.
Yeah. Okay.
So in order to create this out of sync feeling, so this shift fader. So if I move it up one notch, so it's one.
Shift one behind. Step. One behind.
See, so you get this. It's one 16th note off, so to say.
Yeah.
It's very syncopic.
Yeah.
Very offbeat feeling.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
Back to normal. This can be combined with the auto reset. So I go to 3 here again. 1, 2, 3. Now with the shift, I can scan through my sequence which 3 notes to play. Go somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny.
But let's make 5.
Yeah. I see. So you have 5 steps or 3 steps, and basically these 3 steps are scanning through the
I rotate
through the sequence.
I rotate all the steps.
The active steps are going through the sequence. Okay. Interesting.
Many ways to jam here.
Yeah. It's all about jamming. Okay, and we're back.
We're back. I think it's an important feature to have a way to get back. This time. Yeah. So that's
So what about polyrhythms then?
Okay, polyrhythms. Different topic.
Yeah.
So it would to repeat would mean that one track plays, for example, like simple 2 notes at the same time as the other plays 3 notes.
Yeah.
And that's something we usually do with clock divisions. So, for example, let's restart the thing. Okay, we have the bass running. We have this melody running. Okay, so every track has a clock multiplier and divider.
Okay.
So if I go to the track menu of this 4th track, you see these two faders. So the left one is 2, 4, 8. The right one is 3, 5, 7. So here you have the even divisions and multiplications. Here the odd ones. So if I go up, I get multiply 2.
Okay.
Very noisy. Or I can go this direction.
Okay.
That's half.
Divided by 2.
Now at the same time, I can make divide by 2, multiply with 3. Now we get triplets.
Yeah.
Which is a polymetric, polyrhythmic.
Polyrhythmic.
Yeah, sorry.
It is. Yeah.
If you touch it, you get back.
You're back again.
Let's make it vice versa. Let's make times 2 divided by 3. Let's make the pattern simpler. Let's remove this non.
Yeah.
Let's make it just 16 steps. No, let's make 8 steps. Real simple melody. Now we can better hear what's going on. Well, let's restart so that we can.
Yeah.
It's times 2.
Yeah.
Times 4.
And now if we divide.
Oh. Interesting. It's too fast for the gate length, You need to reduce the gate length.
Okay.
The problem is if your gates are too long, you get in trouble.
It overlaps and you just receive one gate and the rest stays.
You don't hear the note anymore.
Positive.
So that's a bit too fast here.
Okay.
See, at some point it stops.
Yeah. So you would need to divide then.
Okay, this is totally crazy. Okay, here at the center you have 1, then you have divide by 3.
Yeah. Divide by 5.
5 and 7.
Okay.
Okay, you can. This is now you have an 8/7 polyrhythm.
Yeah.
And you can combine this with, we can change the sequence length, for example. Let's make it 10 steps.
Yeah, to really.
Now we get really, really crazy stuff.
Okay, nice. So it's all in there.
Actually, it grooves. Don't know why.
Yeah. As soon as the delay is locked in, everything's fine. Yeah.
Awesome. Now we are one step behind.
Yeah.
By the delay. We get this nice offbeat now. But if we want to go to downbeats again, we just need to shift by 1.
And wait until the delay is catching up.
Really, it's really great if the delay.
Yeah. Yeah. It really makes me want to touch it right now. It's just like
Maybe one thing we this context we could have a look at. It's this performance menu.
Yeah.
This gives you access to 4 parameters in this 16 fader configuration or 2 in an 8 fader configuration of all 4 tracks at the same time.
Yeah.
So this is track 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
For example, I can now auto reset the octave switch, diatonic transposition, and the shift. This is configurable in the software.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can directly access. This is voice 4 octave switch. Auto reset for the bass.
So this is just another layer of jamming with 4 tracks simultaneously.
It's no new features, but it gives you access to all tracks at once.
It's a different collection of Yeah.
Yeah, that's
okay.
fun.
Very well thought through. Yeah. So if you're in for a quick, I don't know, escalation probably, or making things more like banger style in the moment, you just come here and do whatever. Is it also
just played with 2 voices
by touch get it back to default?
Yeah, it's the same. So auto reset octave switch.
Okay, so it's just like
you could make it like this if you want to.
Okay, and then you're back.
Yes. And
awesome.
most times we just have played with 2 voices, and you have and already it's going on lots of stuff. So with 4 voices here, really can make really complex music. Moritz, there's one more thing.
One more thing, another nifty thing that you have.
That's just utility thing.
Utility thing.
But very important. So if you have many voices, you want to tune them.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to tune if there's no melody going on.
Yeah.
So at any point, you have this.
So this is
switch,
the global menu.
Global menu. Global menu. Then you have tuning, and I go to the middle position.
Yeah.
And all voices output a C.
Yeah, well.
You can choose the octave here, which is important because you should always tune your VCOs
in the range that they actually play.
In the most played note, in the middle of the range, because to minimize tracking errors.
Yeah.
So that you can use any tune you like, plug into your voice, and simply tune your voices. I mean, you could make it for making music, but it's just C. It's limited to C.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes very, very, very handy. And the switch has a third position, and that's something completely different.
Yeah.
Let's go back to just one track.
Yeah.
And if I want to compose the track, let's clear it.
Yeah.
Then you can of course you can enter notes here, try something.
Yeah.
And then
while it's running.
Yeah, and you need to wait until your note is next time here. Wrong one. And you need another cycle to find the right note.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I can enable this composition mode.
Okay.
This you wouldn't do during a jam.
Okay.
You do this offline. But now, in this mode, when I move a fader...
The
clock stops.
Yeah.
So you can say, okay, I want to make a sequence and dum bum bum and der fehlt and so on. Then you can compose a melody. Immediately see. Oh, we have a quite a large range here. We need to reduce the note range to too many octaves.
Yeah. So while it's still running in the background all the time, so the rest of the sequencer is basically running. Like if I unmute this one.
No, it's not running. It's not running. In the compose mode, it's just this mode. It's for creating melodies. But if I select track 4, it's muted. So I need to unmute it.
Yeah. I see.
Delay works still.
Yeah.
So that's for easier finding the notes. That's a compose mode.
Okay.
And if you're done with composing. Okay,
all right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think now we have covered most of the features of the Moto Fader Performance Sequencer. And remember, this is just an ordinary DROID patch, and you can change anything you like. Download the DROID Forge and use that as a starting point to build your own sequencer if you like.
Yeah. For instance, add drums or whatever to your liking.
Add a drum section, add further additional controllers if you like. Of course, you need to invest some time to learn the Forge and stuff, but it's doable.
It is totally doable.
And then you have complete freedom. But if you don't want to use a computer in your music, I completely understand it, then you just take this prepared patch. You can use it with 2 M4s, with 4 M4s, depending on your budget and space. And that's it.
Awesome.
So that's for my live system, that's the game changer. But with all these musical features like the auto reset, like the diatonic transposition and the arpeggiator and so on, you can really make super complex, interesting music with just a few simple tweaks.
Yeah.
And without any randomness. You don't need randomness for this.
You don't need randomness, Everything is very, very in control and and very, how to say, it's very musical. Obviously, in a way.
Yeah, it supports my playing style, because when I want to play a live gig, I'm very lean. I don't want to prepare 17 songs for my gig. I start with a basic groove. The first 2 minutes of groove are prepared, and then let's see where the journey goes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have been playing on my set with this patch as well, and it is very immediate and. I use it for composing and writing tracks and improvising and just doing the rest.
Yeah, you can even capture the result in MIDI. So if you're working with a DAW, you can use this for inspiration and jamming and so on, and record in MIDI your melodies. And that one, this, if you say, "Oh, this arpeggio was great," then you just cut it out and use it in your music.
Yeah. So I track both. I track the audio and
of course
as well, and then you're free to roam wherever the music leads you.
Yes,
awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys, for listening, for watching, and see you again next time.
Exactly.